All right. Good afternoon to everybody out there. It has been a few days. It's really been a few weeks in coming, probably a few months in coming, that Turtleboy, myself, I should say Dr. Turtleboy, myself, and Solomon are all going to sit down together. Some of you may remember that I sat down with Dr. Turtleboy himself probably a couple months before the retrial. I think it was after Karen Reed's first trial, before the second trial. He invited me onto the show. He's nice enough to invite me on. Anytime that you are a creator and you get invited on to another show, it's very much appreciated. And I'd love to do the favor back to Dr. Turtleboy himself. And there's some very important things that we've both been covering. So as we've both been kind of growing together, him obviously faster than I am, but for good reason. But, I did want to have him on, and I really wanted to have him on. And some of you guys know that I was struggling with this as a lawyer because I know that, Aiden himself is fearless. He has no problem going on any show talking about his charges. But as a lawyer, the lawyer in me was really hesitant. I was a little bit hesitant about it. And I was, I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt anybody in the courtroom. And we all saw what happened with Karen Reed. So I didn't want that to happen with Aiden himself. I want to just watch as an observer, comment, give my analysis on what's going on with the proceedings in his case. But there's, after this last motion, and we saw some more, some of the misconduct and the allegations here that are really, really serious. And obviously we're going to get into them. We're going to ask Solomon his opinion about them with the grand jury. This case absolutely stinks to high heaven from all of the misconduct, everything that's going on behind the scenes, all the backdoor handshakes or whatever was going on. And we probably have only seen the tip of the iceberg. And we're going to not try to get into too much of the details because there's probably things that Aiden cannot talk about himself. And I don't want to, I don't want to go there. So, but I did see enough, and there were some very careful conversations about what exactly we're going to talk about to make sure that all the haters are not going to get any fodder to be able to use against them. So there's going to be a very careful consideration about what type of topics we're going to be covering about each topic. And I know that people that may not like Aiden so much are probably watching this very carefully, but I'm going to tell you right now, you're probably not going to get anything from today. Because this is carefully planned, and we got a lot of smart people, and you're probably not going to get anything. So you may as well just turn it off right now. All right. So without any further ado, let's bring on the doctor himself, Dr. Turtleboy.
How's it going, brother Counsel?
Doctor, I'm glad that you finally joined back. I'm happy that we're able to do this. Really wanted to, invite you on after you were so gracious to invite me on. I think we had a great conversation last time, don't you?
Yes, we did. I don't even remember what we talked about, but I remember it was pleasant. I think it was when you kind of first started emerging on my YouTube timeline feed, whatever, and started watching your videos. And then I had you on. I really don't remember exact. I think you were like new to the case. And so I thought that was like an interesting perspective to have you on as an attorney to hear what you had to say. And you've obviously gotten real into it since then. And now you know the Karen Reed case real well, and you're learning about my case too.
Yeah, it seems like Massachusetts is really, sucking me in. I got Brian Walsh now also that I'm on my radar. We got Kelsey Fitz Simmons. I may as well just open up a office for Brother Counsel Studios in Massachusetts at this point. But yeah, I do remember.
There's going to be no shortage of clients out here. I'll tell you that much.
Norfolk County, maybe. Yeah. I do remember, actually, it was right after I had Kate and Kevin on when we had that little discussion there, and you invited me on shortly after. And I remember what we spoke about off camera before we started talking about the show. You said, one thing you said, we're not going to talk about your discussion with Kate and Kevin. We're going to talk about other stuff. So,
right. Yeah, because I didn't want to give them fodder. I kind of liked you as a neutral guy, and I still consider you that. You're not a rah-rah guy. You're not like a free carry, whatever. Like that's what people like about you is you're an attorney and you break it down, the legal way and talk about the facts of it all. And so I thought that if I started getting into the messiness of it all, start talking about Kate and Plevin, then it would dilute from what we're actually trying to accomplish there. So we avoided that topic.
Yeah, I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea about anything about your history with Kate before that show. I was, very new to at that point. I was just watching the Karen Reed case, looking at the documents, doing research, giving my opinion, my legal analysis. I had no idea about all the drama, especially now after I've seen everything that went on with your case, I'm seeing how deep it went, and the deep, I don't know, hatred perhaps that she may have for you.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know that. I had no clue about that.
Yeah, there was too much to explain for a first meeting. You know what I mean? I didn't want to prejudice you about your opinion of her or me. So I didn't want to get into that because a lot of it's messy. A lot of it's, like you said, drama. Although it began as drama, it has turned into something much more serious because Kate, she has been obsessed with me for several years now. But she finally found a police department who is willing to work with her. And so this is the first time it's become like actually serious.
Yeah. And of course, there's probably a lot that we do not see from the motion itself that you're probably not allowed to talk about. So let's not go there.
For sure.
Okay. So before we get into more of the details about what we're going to talk about today, we have to bring on the other guest today, national trial attorney Solomon Radner, who also for the first time is meeting the doctor himself. So here we go. Solomon, glad that you can rejoin Brother Counsel right here.
Glad to be here. Glad to be on with the doctor. Doctor, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Esquire. Is that your eminence? What should I call you? Mr. Radner?
Solomon.
Solomon. All right, we'll go with that.
Yeah, Brother Solomon. Brother Solomon. Yeah. First question to you, Aiden. First question that I have written down here that I want to ask you is, which would you really prefer? Would you have preferred center stage at CrimeCon or the Wilbur?
No, not even a question. The Wilbur. That was awesome. That was so cool. And we're going to do it again. I mean, CrimeCon would have been, cool to go to Denver and be honored. But I don't know anything about CrimeCon. I found out some stuff afterwards that it's a very like pro prosecution in general thing, which is why they appear to ignore the biggest murder trial in the country at their little convention, and they focus on Delphi instead, which obviously resulted in a conviction. And they kind of like, I think that if Karen Reed had been convicted, I think they would have invited the O'Keefes and other people and maybe the McAlberts to CrimeCon. So I think her being acquitted was not what they wanted to see.
And they didn't have any sort of day or program dedicated to Karen Reed, right?
To my knowledge, I don't know. I think they wanted to use me they invited me months ago, and I think they kind of were hoping that I could bring Karen Reed with me. But that didn't happen. So they just were like, yeah, we're all set then. So it's like, okay. I mean, I can't believe they thought Karen Reed would actually go to that, which is just crazy to me. Like, I guess I'd never heard of CrimeCon before they invited me there, but I'm like, sure, sounds like fun. A free trip to Denver, give it a shot. But
were you invited and then uninvited?
Yeah, I was invited months ago by Susan Hendricks, who is one of their interviewers there on stage. And, she talked to me throughout the trial. She was there when the acquittal happened. She was outside. Like she understood what a big deal this whole thing was. But apparently she kind of just led me on. I kept asking her, like, when are, so can I make the announcement? And she's like, not yet. I just have to figure out a couple more things. And then eventually I was just like, can I make this announcement or not? And she's like, okay, I talked to them and I'm sorry, Aiden, but you're not coming. And I'm like, okay, thank you for leading me on for 3 months, but I appreciate that.
And that's because you couldn't bring Karen with you?
Yeah, that's my theory. Because she kept asking me, they want to know if you could bring Karen and her lawyers with you. And I'm like, no, it's not like a joint package like that,
Gotcha. That makes sense.
No, I mean, I can't imagine a true crime event in this past year that doesn't cover Karen Reed. I mean, if you don't want to call it the biggest case in America, it's up there. It's one of the top, 3, right? Koberger, Richard Allen, and Karen Reed. I mean, really.
Easily one. I mean, no offense to the people that are into those trials, and those are obviously important trials too. One did not result in a trial, right? He was quite clearly guilty. The other was not televised. Although from people who follow that case, it sounded like the judge was very similar to the judge, or even worse, they say, Judge Gall. And it wasn't as like open and shut. Like, I understand a lot of people believe in Richard Allen's innocence. I see, from what I've seen, I've seen no overwhelming evidence, not even close to convict him of murder. But at the same time, like, what made the Karen Reed case so intriguing was, I mean, it had it all. First of all, she was so obviously innocent in so many people's opinions, but also the cast of characters in this were almost like cartoonishly evil. and like Proctor and Tully and Jennifer McCabe and people like that. And there were so many people who were just obviously lying on the stand, and it was just so unbelievable. And then it resulted in a mistrial somehow, and that just kind of built up the second one even more. And we all saw what happened there.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I covered some part of Richard Allen. Actually, I did a couple of videos on it, and I saw one of the opinions where she tried to throw the attorneys off of the case, and I read it, and it was egregious. I said, this is going to get reversed. It was reversed, and now you got this judge who tried to get these attorneys thrown off the case, and now they're trying the case in front of her. I knew that it probably wasn't going to be a smooth trial, and from the reports that I'm hearing, there's a lot there that needs to be looked at, and if I had the bandwidth, I would look at it, but I'm just quite bogged down with a lot of other things. Let me ask you another question. I know that I was not able to come to the Wilbur. It was Friday night. We got our Sabbath. So maybe the next time you'll consider me when you schedule it. But
Saturday night?
Saturday night might work if it's in the winter and late enough. But so I guess I don't know exactly everything that went on in the Wilbur but I know that you have some sort of documentary going on, right? I mean,
You do.
Yeah, and is part of it going to be what happened at the Wilbur? Is that why some of it is kind of kept under lock and key?
Yes. So the documentary crew was there. They filmed the entire thing. You know, like it was a whole day. I went to there was a hotel nearby where they stayed in, and I went there and we did an interview for a little over an hour or so, just prepping, you know, what was going on in my mind, talking about the case, what's happened afterwards, etc. And then they filmed me walking about half a mile to the Wilbur Theater, right through the Boston Common, during peak rush hour, and you know, behind the scenes, you know, and backstage at the Wilbur. So you're going to see all sorts of footage there, and then of course the crowd and interviewing people outside and speaking to them. And so I didn't want it streamed because I wanted to have something exclusive for the documentary. And then afterwards, I will air all the footage, but after the documentary comes out, because you want exclusive stuff in the documentary,
right? And so, Solomon, just so you should know, there's two separate documentaries and movies going on.
Yes.
We got Turtle Boys and you got Karen Reed's.
No.
They're not working together on this?
No, wrong. So there's two separate documentaries. There is the Turtleboy documentary and the Sandpaper documentary. The Sandpaper documentary is a pro McAlbert documentary. It's a British company that has a deal with Netflix. But the problem is, they secured the deal with Netflix before they got any like exclusive agreements with people who really the most interesting people in this case. No one from the Reed team or the Reed family will interview with them. But they have the McAlberts, they have the O'Keefes, and apparently, from what I saw yesterday, posted on her Twitter account, Zora, who's the director of the documentary, interviewed Lindsay Catani and Catherine Peter. And so if that's your documentary, I mean, it's just not going to do well. So meanwhile, our documentary has obviously me, I believe David Yannetti, Richie from Microdots, and a couple other people who testified at the trial. And as well as there is an offer in front of Karen Reed and Alan Jackson right now. So they may join us as well. And if not, if they don't join our project, they're not going to be in a documentary because they're not doing the Sandpaper one either.
Wait, but there is a movie deal that Karen Reed signed, right? I mean, that came out.
That's a misunderstanding.
What's that?
That's her rights. So she doesn't have a movie deal. She has signed her rights over to, I believe the company's called SBI. At least that's my understanding of it. She has not signed any sort of.
Explain that a little bit more, because I think a lot of people watching may not understand the difference.
I don't really understand the difference that much, but it was explained to me. My understanding of it is that there's no Karen Reed movie like that's in the project right now, except with my company called Compelling Pictures, the company that I sign with. And again, Karen has an offer in front of her that she could sign or not sign. But in order to portray me in a movie, like you would need my permission. Like I would have to sign my rights over to you and obviously be compensated for that. And so, whereas like with Karen Reed, I'm told that somebody could play her part without compensating her, which is what's happening with the Elizabeth Banks thing.
Right.
So, she has an offer in front of her. Again, she can sign it or not sign it. I think it would be better if she did. I think a documentary with both me and Karen and her defense team on it would just bury the Sandpaper documentary, which is our primary competitor. And I think because they're both going to be coming out around the same time. And I think ours is going to be a million times better.
Yeah, but this Elizabeth one, I mean, that's the one that like every time Alan Jackson gets a chance, he's discrediting it and saying that they should have spoken to them, and they didn't ask us, they didn't call us. So like he's trying to kind of play it really down. But the other ones where she signed over her rights, I mean, aren't they going to be making some sort of movie about her because of it? I mean, isn't that what's going to happen?
Well, you need a production company to sign. There's no movie. Nothing's been greenlit. There's no deal. There's no deal. So
let me dumb this down a little bit, okay? Let's say I think that somebody at some point in time is going to want to make a movie about Martin Radner, okay? Brother Counsel.
Good
movie. So I go over to him and I say, hey, I'm going to give you $10,000. I want you to sign your rights over to me for this movie. That way, when Netflix comes or Sandpaper comes and says, hey, we want to make a movie about you, obviously you're going to sign whatever I tell you to sign. It's practically an assignment of rights.
Yes, that's what it is. That's exactly what the deal is right there. So they don't, when a movie comes, this company will basically represent and own the rights to Karen Reed's likeness. That's my understanding.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, because the way that I see this is that I would find it hard to have a movie where you and Karen are both the main characters or documentary, because the story is either about this journalist who discovered this case and blew it up, and then he got famous and whatever. Like it's a story about you as opposed to a story about a girl about her story, gets arrested for being falsely accused, and it's about her team, her defense, what's going on in court. And part of the story is that this journalist is blowing up the case. But you see, I would have a problem with there being two main characters, Turtleboy and Karen Reed, in the same movie.
You're right about that. It's got to come from one angle or the other. And the Body in the Snow documentary came from her angle. And I was, you can't tell the story without mentioning me and my involvement in it, obviously. So like there was, I think the second episode I was heavily featured in it. I didn't interview with them. I couldn't do it because of my exclusivity agreement with Compelling. But this documentary is going to be from my perspective, because that's what they're interested in. They're interested in, and they've workshopped this and asked around, and they find this the most interesting angle, just like how this Karen Reed story came to be. Like the story existed before I arrived, but no one was paying attention to it. And so they're interested in how I came along and started writing about this and how it turned into like this Free Karen Reed sensation, this worldwide movement, and all the things that have come along with it, and me getting arrested and going to jail and all that stuff.
Right. Okay. So Solomon, let's move on to the case. The first case I want to talk about. We're going to get into your motion, but I want to kind of talk about some of the other issues that we have to talk about, because I think it's important for people to know about it. Let's talk briefly about Kelsey Fitz Simmons. Kelsey Fitz Simmons, have you been covering that also, Aiden?
I can't go. I mean, I have briefly, because I got real fired up about that, the bail revocation audio, because it was so horrible. But prior to that, because Kelsey Fitz Simmons is also represented by my attorney, Tim Bradel, I have elected to avoid it, because if I took a pro Kelsey Fitz Simmons position, then people would just say, well, you're saying that because your lawyer represents her. If I took an anti Kelsey Fitz Simmons position, I would be undermining my own attorney. So I think it's better if I just stay out of it.
Yeah, well, I just heard the interview that Young Jerks did with the judge, Carol Erskine. And I mean, first of all, I mean, that's kind of the first time that I've heard her speak. I don't know if you've heard her before, but I mean, really, really intelligent, really preaching to the choir with a lot of the same points.
Really nice lady too. She was friends with my mother. She sent me a really nice message after she passed, and because she's local to Worcester County, I believe, initially.
Yeah, I mean, and it's good to hear from a judge, because I'm a lawyer, I'm kind of from the lawyer seat, and I see what's going on, and I'm telling you how I would feel about certain rulings. And then when she says, well, I've been on the bench, and I've presided over 1,000 revocation hearings, and this is ridiculous what happened, it, kind of makes you feel bad. But Solomon, have you heard about the Kelsey Fitz Simmons case? I know I tried to send you some stuff. What are your takeaways from the Kelsey Fitz Simmons case?
I don't know very much about it. If there's something specific, you may want to ask something more specific.
Okay, so what just very briefly, what happened to Kelsey Fitz Simmons is that there was a motion. She was shot in the chest as a result of some sort of altercation, which is not really relevant so much about the merits of the case. But she was in the hospital for like 53 days, and she was charged with assault with a dangerous weapon, even though the allegations are that she was pointing a gun at the cop, and you would think attempted murder. But
and she is a cop too,
and she is a cop
in the same police department that shot her.
So she is a cop.
And they were serving her with a restraining order that her baby daddy, whatever your fiance, had applied for and received ex parte because he told the judge that she was a danger to their newborn baby.
Right. So she has a newborn baby. Police show up, which she's familiar with. These are people that she worked with, and they say, we're taking away your baby. Okay, so obviously not an easy situation. And okay, question is whether she held a gun to herself or she held a gun at the cops. Point is that she's arrested, and she was shot in the chest, and she was arraigned from her hospital bed, but she's got all types of inner problems, internal organ problems, broken ribs. And then what happens is that she gets out on bond, but she has to breathe into the scram device. Okay, and it's very difficult for her to breathe into the scram device. So Tim Bradel, same attorney that's representing Turtleboy, gets on to the.
Can you hear me? I'm frozen.
Oh, yeah, you are frozen.
Oh, okay. I think he had a stroke. Stroke, Solomon.
That wasn't true. All right, I can still hear you loud and clear. This is really interesting. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, why don't you go off and go back on for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, what's he looking at? Is he looking at some of the documents that I sent him before? But that's the age of technology. At least I don't have to repeat the entire story of Kelsey Fitz Simmons. But I mean, that's such a crazy case. I mean, it's been about 2 weeks. She's been locked up for 2 weeks. I can't imagine that her condition's improving when she's in jail.
No.
But okay, Solomon, are you back with us?
Yes, and I was able to hear everything up until that point. So okay, so there's a scram, which is basically an alcohol tether that you blow into.
Yeah, an alcohol tether. So then Tim Bradel, her attorney, files this motion to modify so that she can go test in another way, an alternative way, like through urine, something like that. And
why would she need that?
Why would she need? Oh, because she's on house arrest.
She can't leave. She can't go somewhere to take a pee test because she's on house arrest.
No, but she's got the scram. Why can't she just blow into it?
Because she got shot in the diaphragm.
Oh, so
and she has broken ribs.
Yeah, it's hard for her to breathe. So like she's willing to take a test, but she would like an alternative one, the P one. But you can't do the P one at home. You got to go into the clinic or whatever, and she's not allowed to leave her house.
That's reasonable. Okay.
Okay, so she can't blow into the scram device because she's in immense pain. It's torture for her. She's broken ribs and all types of internal organs that are messed up. So Tim Bradel files a motion just to modify her bond. At the hearing, the judge says, I don't think that she's going to be able to comply with the release restrictions, and therefore I'm revoking bond. She has to be locked up now.
Yeah. And it was not.
Were there other violations? There had to have been other violations.
No, not only that, there was no motion on the table to revoke the bail from the prosecution. And if you listen to the audio, they don't even ask for her to have her bail revoked. So
who's the judge? Is this Judge Bev again?
No, it's some other hyphenated C word. And she goes in there and like they were just expecting to either have a new form of testing allowed or not have a new form of testing allowed. Like that was the worst case scenario. They thought was just the worst she could say is no, I'm not going to let you. You have to do this. You have to blow it in the machine, whatever. And so they go in there and they go, well, she can't really blow it in the machine. It's too painful. I think they called it like compared it to torture. And she goes, really? Well, if she can't do it, then we're gonna have to put her back in jail.
And didn't even give her the option of keeping it. Just said,
no,
go to jail.
Just go to jail.
Still in jail right now with this judge, or did they appeal it?
Been over 2 weeks. You cannot appeal.
That is ridiculously outrageous.
As somebody who's had their bail revoked before, you can't appeal bail revocation. You have to go You have to go to the SJC immediately. Like in
What's
SJC,
this judge's name?
It's got a hyphen in it.
I forgot what it is also.
McCarthy Naaman.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Wow.
But Solomon, I mean, tell us a little bit about due process. I mean, is that constitutional even though? Like there's no, I mean, she just said, okay, this is a motion to modify. This isn't a violation motion. This isn't a dangerous hearing. This isn't a bond hearing. This is just a motion to modify. And then she says, we're going to lock you up, taking away her liberty. What about least restrictive means? What's your constitutional look at what happened?
Well, it's not really it kind of is constitutional. There's obviously a due process angle here, but generally speaking, the way bond works is if you want to modify bond or revoke bond, there either has to be a material change of circumstances or some sort of abuse of discretion that was utilized or relied upon by a previous judge in setting bond. Like, for example, let's say somebody's wanted for multiple murder charges and has multiple murder convictions and is let out on a personal bond. Okay. Obviously, that would be most likely viewed as an abuse of discretion. Whichever judge gave that ridiculous bond was abusing his or her discretion. A change of circumstances would be if, let's say, something changes while you're on bond. So let's say somebody's on bond, they're not a flight risk, they're not a danger to the community, but then they win the lottery and buy a private island in a country that doesn't extradite. Well, that's a change of circumstance. You can go to the court and say, hey, we need to modify the bond and either put a tether on or restrict movement or house arrest or lock him or up, something along those lines because of this change of circumstance. For something like this, for the judge to do this is frankly ridiculous. This judge ought to be ashamed of herself. And most likely, if I had to guess, based on the cases that I've worked on and based on the asinine rulings that I've seen judges make in not exactly similar, but somewhat similar circumstances. And I have had a case very similar to this where a judge revoked bond for no reason. It was ridiculous. And it was obvious why the judge did it. And I'm guessing that's why the judge is doing it here. It's to basically coerce a plea out of the defendant. There's some sort of offer on the table. The judge wants the defendant to take it, or the judge just doesn't want the case to go to trial for whatever reason. And that's often why a judge would make such a ridiculous ruling. And this is assuming that you're saying it correctly, this is a completely asinine ruling. To revoke bond because you're asking for a modification is ridiculous. And this judge will be ashamed.
And there's like, it was almost like a gotcha to Bradel. Like, oh, really? So you don't want it. Oh, so you're telling me that she can't blow into it. Okay. Well, I guess you're leaving me no choice.
No other violations. You're sure there were
there was no violations. In fact, the probation officer said at the hearing under oath that he would not consider anything that she did a violation, meaning there were certain times that she blew into that she was not able to complete the test, but eventually she was able to complete the test that day. And the probation officer said, I would not consider that a violation. This was not instigated by the probation office. This was a motion by Bradel just to modify. And the probation officer was completely supportive of her position. And then the judge seemed to have taken something so personally. Like if you listen to this,
you got to hear the audio. You got to
hear the audio. Some, and
her tone is what really sticks out the most. How cold she is and rude. She yells at the probation officer one time. She's like, "No one's talking to you." Yeah. Like the guy's like trying to explain why it's not a big deal. He's like,
"Are they working on a motion to disqualify the judge?" I mean, it seems kind of obvious that this judge really shouldn't be. It's almost impossible to get those motions.
Yeah, those never work. They tried. I mean, Alan Jackson tried that. That didn't work. So like because the judges themselves are the ones who rule on it.
But then generally you can take it up to the chief judge. I don't know. I know Michigan law and I know some other states, but generally speaking, once that motion is denied, you get an automatic appeal to the chief judge. And depending on
I think he did. Did he not order something in order to appeal it? I think he did. I know he's working on something.
He said he's got to go to the SJC, and the SJC takes time. It's very specific format, a lot longer. It's a lot of time that has to be invested in those. Because we had an SJC thing when I was in jail, and we actually got my sentence knocked down from 90 to 60 days. But other than that, you have to have like really good evidence that of some sort of mistake made by the judge.
Yeah, I mean,
and like for instance, with mine, we said that I forget our exact argument that like even the allegation against me, which was untrue and dropped the second I got out of jail, was that I pushed her onto a couch. And Bradel's argument was like, we don't put people in jail for that. Like it's not a violent crime. And so the judge agreed, and the judge gives the single justice at the SJC agreed. And so he gives the judge a chance to respond to this and explain how is this guy a danger to the community? And the judge said in his ruling, Judge McCollum, that I assaulted a pregnant woman, and she wasn't pregnant. So he just blatantly to cover his own ass, because these judges don't like to get overruled. He just made something up about her being pregnant and said that I assaulted her. I didn't, those charges were dropped anyway. But anyway, my point here is that it's pretty hard to get something overturned at the SJC.
Yeah, and he did file a motion for reconsideration, Solomon, and he attached a medical, because one of the things that she made up is that, there's no medical records. So he filed a motion of reconsideration, and he attached a medical record letter from the treating surgeon about what her injuries are and why it's so difficult for her to breathe. And she said, nah, we're not going to reconsider it. And sorry, she's in jail. And I mean, I think that reeks of due process.
That's shameful. That's absolutely shameful. Again, assuming it's the way you're describing it, and I have no reason to believe otherwise, that's shameful by the judge. This judge ought to be ashamed of herself for doing something like that. There's no reason for that.
Yeah, I mean,
be fair. Pretend to be fair. And by the way, there's plenty of judges that do things that are not fair, but at least they pretend to be fair.
Yeah,
they do it in such a way that it looks like they're being fair. We saw that in plenty of times in Karen Reed trial, where she would almost make it sound like she was grappling with what to do, but everybody already knew what was going to happen. And by the way, just so you know, doctor, because you got to be always honest with your doctor.
Yes.
I came into this without any clue who you were, who Karen Reed was. I had no idea. My brother started telling me about these cases, and my head was exploding. And then when I saw that he wasn't making it up, it was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is shocking stuff.
It is interesting to watch newcomers who are first exposed to this, because you can't believe it because it's cartoonish. It's like, this can't be real. And then you hear it played out in court, and it's like, oh, is it exactly how it was described to be? Like, it's like a movie. Like I didn't think stuff like this happened in real life. That's what made it so interesting for me when I first wrote about it, was that, like, I'm like, this can't, what? They're all this stuff. I'm like, what? And they're still going forward with this. This can't be. What's going on? And they just I just couldn't believe it. And I still can't believe it to this day. It's been like 3 years.
No, I mean,
like a movie that's written by somebody who has no grasp on reality. Because a lot of these things, if you were writing a movie, you say, no, don't put that in. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Of course they would have searched the house. Of course they would have interviewed the people there when he died. What are you talking about? Come on, stop it.
My favorite part of this is showing a picture of John O'Keefe's arm to people who have no idea about the case. And I say, tell me what that's from. Tell me what that's from. And then, like, dog bite, car crash never makes the list. It's always like barbed wire, I don't know, a knife, usually it's a dog attack or an animal attack. But if you want to get a little bit, I say, okay, what else? I say maybe knife, maybe barbed wire, maybe, like car crash. And then, like, you watch their face.
Yeah, it's funny because prior to the trial, I'm like, what the hell could those be if not a dog bite? And they're like, it came from the car. And they're like, can you explain it to me? And the Plevins of the world were like, you'll see a trial. And I'm like, they all had their own theories. They're like, maybe it was from the undercarriage of the car. Maybe it was the rear quarter panel that did it. Tail light wasn't on my bingo card. The tail light.
It was the blue paint that did it. I mean, that pretty much proved what did it.
Yeah. I'm like, tail light. When Joe Paul said that in the first trial, I'm like, tail light did it. You can't be serious right now. Tail light. So the plastic polycarbonate taillight broke and then somehow went through his sleeve without cutting it at all, and it caused these linear parallel laceration pairs all over. What? Who believes this? This is madness. That's what I mean. You're just like, am I crazy? This can't be real, right?
Well, the judge did everything she could to restrict the defense's experts' testimony on that.
Yeah.
There were some really asinine rulings there.
We didn't even hear the best witness. You guys missed Garrett Wing. If you haven't seen the Melanie Little episode where she interviews Garrett Wing, who was on the witness list.
Right. He was on the witness list.
He is. Oh, yeah. You thought, I mean, I love Dr. Marie Russell, but this guy was like 10 times more effective when you hear it. And I wish we got to hear him speak. He would have been awesome.
Oh,
you take the win any way you can get it, but she won. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, they had so much. The second trial, they had so much on there. La Posada. I mean, okay. Anyway, let's not talk about the trial with Karen Reed. We did that already. But let me ask you this, Aiden, did you see the Karen Reed motion to dismiss in the civil case?
I did see it. I watched the hearing the other day, and it seems more like the Turtleboy hearing, I would call it, because the guy kept bringing my name up and kept mentioning me, and I'm like, I'm not the one being sued here, am I?
I don't understand this. I've been telling this to my channel. I've been telling this on Twitter. I don't understand why people keep injecting you into the Karen Reed case. I mean, that's like when their argument goes off the rails. Like, they sound decent until they start talking about, and then she was funneling information to Turtleboy, and then Turtleboy was using it, and she's like basically the editor of Turtleboy. I'm like, and I even put out a post like, oh, did you know that Karen Reed, like,
I like that.
Yeah, she edits your 3-hour videos that you're just doing impromptu without,
if
without
they would have already named her as a co-defendant in your case if they actually thought they could say that with a straight face.
It's crazy that's how they've spun this. The reality of it all, the truth of it all is that I'm a reporter and Karen Reed is a source of my reporting. And if she chooses to be anonymous, I will grant her that choice. If she wanted to use her real name, I would have printed her name, but she wanted to be anonymous. And when sources give you information, they can either give you information on the record or off the record. And so they're like, well, she directed him what to say. Yeah, she said that you can say this because that's on the record, but you can't say this because that's off the record. And it's just it's such a simple concept that they've somehow turned into she's directing him what to do.
I talk to reporters all the time, and very often there's plenty of times where a reporter will call me, and the first thing I'll say is, I'll talk to you off the record first.
Right.
When we talk off the record, then sometimes I'm willing to go on the record. Mm-hmm. Or there are things that while I'm talking to them, I'll say, okay, I can answer that question for you, but it's off the record, that we can go back on. That's perfectly normal. That's just part of journalism.
So I'll give you an example. Lucky Loughran. She had told me about Lucky Loughran after a few weeks. She had told me that like there's a plow driver who we spoke with who told us that he drove by and that there was no body on the lawn and that there was a Ford Edge there. And she showed me, she goes, this is off the record. And she shows me the interview between her private investigator, Paul Mikowski, and Lucky Loughran. And she's like, but you can't report on this because it's not public yet. And so I said, well, what if I find Lucky Loughran and I interview him myself? Then you're not involved. Then it's this is just reporting, right? And so I went down to the DPW and I wanted to know who plowed the road that night, and I was able to get from them the name Lucky Loughran, right? And then I was able to track down Lucky Loughran. He was a little hesitant at first, and that's why Hank accused me of witness intimidation of the trial because he didn't want to talk at first. And then 2 months later, when I reconnected with him, he was happy to tell me the whole story. And, I'm glad he did because we put it all out there. So that's an example right there of, when something is off the record, you can't report it.
Yeah, but you remember that he took pictures. Hank Brennan brought that point out. That winning point on cross-examination. That
Rita Lombardi picture outside. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, I know he's not going to show the picture right now. I know he's not going to show the picture. What is that a crime? Somebody asks you to take a picture and you're just polite and you say yes. Like, oh my God. Like,
I know I shouldn't be getting into this, but come on that road rally, wasn't Karen Reed had a walkie-talkie with you saying exactly what you should be saying into the megaphone? Come on. You can come clean now.
She wishes. She is. Unfortunately, she does not have that type of control over me.
Yeah. Who can control? Look at one of your videos.
I know.
Someone's going to say, yeah, this person is controllable.
Yeah, this guy, you can tell this guy it's like, I'm as if I would lie for what benefit? Like what, I am successful with this story because it's the truth. And because I'm not that charming. I cannot convince people with a lie that like a guilty person is actually innocent. I don't have it. Like millions of people have followed the story. Like someone would figure out that this isn't actually, he's lying to us. Oh my God. It's like the receipts all back up everything I'm saying. The court documents and the filings all back up everything that I'm saying. I'm not saying anything novel here. I'm saying like common sense. Look at his arm. I didn't need the ARCA experts to tell me that didn't come from a car because I have 2 eyes and, and a brain, and I've been alive for quite some time and have cut myself before. And I know that doesn't come from a taillight.
No. I thought that's what also brought in Alan Jackson. Alan Jackson saw that picture. He was like, no, these are dog bites.
Yep. That and the Google search hooked me in because
the Google search is I think the most damning evidence that's ever been presented almost in any case.
Yeah. And prior to this
trial, there's ever a smoking gun. That's it.
Yeah. Prior to this trial, it was over because I'd never heard of a Google search not being legitimate. I'd never heard of such a thing before.
Timestamp of them fighting over the timestamp.
Right. Of them saying the timestamp is wrong. I've never heard of such a thing. Yeah. And so I thought it was over. I'm like, well, obviously the government that uses Google searches to convict people is not now going to say that Google searches are unreliable and Celebrate is unreliable. They're not going to say that, right? And then they did. And what? Like every single thing that was like a smoking gun, they had some bad response to, a comical response to. And they, like, for instance, the up and down 3 flights of stairs. Like, how do you explain that? Anyone who has a watch, like mine, it's pretty darn accurate. It knows exactly when I'm going upstairs and when I'm going downstairs. And their response to that was he was driving on some Oakdale road and it was a 50-foot drive. So I went there and it was the flattest road. I'm like, this can't be real. Like, and even if it was the hilliest road in Massachusetts, it wouldn't cause you to go up and down 3 flights of stairs.
All right, I have a client who just called me 3 times and texted me 911, which is what I tell my clients to text if it's an emergency. So
okay,
I got to jump off for a minute. Okay.
Okay, right. We'll continue. Now he'll be, well, okay. I don't know why he didn't remove himself, but okay, he'll be back. See, the other thing also about, I mean, what's going on with Karen Reed now is that they want her cell phone because they want to perhaps indict her on the same witness intimidation charges, right? So that's what seems like they're posturing. You saw that motion, right?
Yeah. Well, so, she called me over when I was on vacation late July and said that she was trying to contact Cosgrove to get her phone back. And when they contacted him, he said, we're not giving it back because we're going to conduct another grand jury. That's what he said. And
they filed that motion.
Yeah. And so I'm like, when she was all worried about it. And I'm like, they're not doing another grand jury. Stop it. They just don't want to give you your phone back. That's all this is. He's just coming up. I guarantee he's getting his marching orders from Morrissey and he's saying, just tell her a lie. There's no grand jury. There's no investigation. They know that. They've had our phones forever. They know everything that's in them. There's nothing to see there. They just don't want to return her personal property. And so they can just say, oh, we're conducting a grand jury. You don't know if that's true or not because grand juries are secret. There's no grand jury. There's no investigation. There will be no more charges. There will be no more indictments. There'll be nothing. Like nothing's going to happen. This case is on its last lifeline. Karen Reed's already been acquitted. Can you imagine the optics of that? Like the press of this woman who won her freedom and was acquitted and made them look so stupid and the whole world is watching. And then old man Robert Cosgrove's going to indict her on conspiracy. I mean, they would look, not that they care about optics, but
exactly.
But that's
exactly the point.
Yeah.
I mean, they obviously have not been in touch with the PR guy because, the entire Karen Reed case blew up in their face. And now they're not giving back her phone, which suggests, even though you're saying it would be ridiculous, which I agree with you about, but which suggests that they're posturing, at least, that they're going to try to stick her with some witness intimidation charges and have you sit right next to her in another trial with 2 shots at cross-examination, Mark Beddoe and Alan Jackson, cross-examining, Jennifer McCabe again, and all the, I mean, can you imagine, like, how dumb do you have to be? But they're not, that's how they're posturing. Like, I can't, I agree with you that, like, I can't imagine that they would be that dumb, but, I mean, we've seen Karen Reed trial 2.0.
But at this point, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. Don't they get tired of losing? I mean, that was humiliating what they did. They went through all that and you lost. Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. And there's going to be movies and documentaries. You guys are going to look horrible. And are you guys like gluttons for punishment? Do you think that if you just keep trying this, eventually you'll get her and you'll feel vindicated? Because it's just the fact of the matter is that her and I never conspired to commit any witness intimidation because I didn't commit any witness intimidation. Nothing I've did is even remotely close to being criminal. It's what people have been doing for centuries in the media. And as an activist, like people have been protesting the government. It happens all the time. So, I mean, it's just absurd that you could be charged with intimidating Michael Proctor, a police officer. I've never heard of such a thing.
It's hard enough. And I explained this to my channel also. It's hard enough. I mean, they have a hard enough job to try to figure out some way to convict you on witness intimidation because it all comes down to what was in your mind, which, they can't really show. As much as they may get on the stand and say, yeah, I was intimidated. It doesn't matter if you were actually intimidated. The question is whether that's what your intention was. But here's the problem. Karen Reed, which is a step removed, there's just no way that she was conspiring with you unless she's dumb enough to send you a text, which I doubt that this exists. To send you a text saying, hey, go intimidate the McCabe's and get them not to testify. Like, if she did that, okay, you got
me.
They
might have her, yeah.
But absent that, I mean, there's just no way I can imagine. I mean, it's your case itself. I mean, and you're the one who was actually there on the megaphone saying,
yeah,
things, at the
only person who knows my intent is me. I mean, and my intent was simple. I just want to ask these people some questions. And honestly, I'm just offended about what I see as an obvious sham, corruption, a cover-up of a murder trial of a well-loved police officer. And I see the government covering this up, and I can't stop the trial. So what can I do besides peacefully protest and make my voice heard? It's the most American thing that you can do when you see the government abusing its power. It's your duty almost to stand up and say, I object. It might not accomplish anything. I didn't think it was going to stop any trials. I didn't want it to stop any trials. That wasn't my intent, but I wanted to let them know that, like, I object. And lots of people out here object, and we have a problem with this, and we're watching you guys. And if you do this, you're not going to do it under, a cloud of silence and secrecy. We're going to be out here making our voices heard, period.
Oh, and by the way, there is something called the First Amendment. Well, let's not forget about that.
That too. There used to be. Well, that's the thing, is the statute in Massachusetts is just blatantly unconstitutional. It's the only state in the country where, all 50 states have a witness intimidation statute, but ours is the only one that says that you cannot cause emotional or financial harm to witnesses. All of the other ones are pretty boilerplate. They all say that you can't threaten to cause physical harm to witnesses for the purposes of preventing them from testifying in some sort of trial, right, or a legal proceeding.
Right.
In Massachusetts, it's much broader, right? It's, first of all, it applies to witnesses, family members of witnesses, potential witnesses, or anyone planning on attending a court proceeding, which is basically everyone is a witness. And you cannot cause not only the threat of physical harm, which is not being alleged at all on my part. They are making no allegations that I threatened to physically harm anyone. They are using the emotional harm provision and saying that I, caused emotional harm to Jennifer McCabe and Chris Albert. And they've all testified at the grand jury and said, and they were let up, and we're going to get into this with the motion to dismiss, but they're all kind of coached to say, so how did that make you feel when he was doing that stuff? Oh, it made me feel so scared, and I was scared and sad, and my kids are sad, and so it was a lot of emotional harm. And then the next prong, of course, is intent. You have, like, it's not just enough that I caused you emotional harm. It has to be with the intent to prevent you from testifying, right? And so they would ask them, what do you think his intent was?
Exactly.
Which is so improper. And of course, on cue, they all have the script. I believe he was telling me he did not want me to testify because I'm a witness in the Karen Reed trial.
Right. So that's the point. I mean, the point is that even with the emotional part of the statute, it still all comes down to intent. I mean, that's where they really, don't have a case. It all comes down to intent. It's not about whether, you're right. The statute says emotional harm also, but again, it all comes down to, did Dr. Turtleboy how do you show that he didn't want you to testify or say something different or whatever? Okay. But I just wanted to get before we jump into your motion, I wanted to get your feeling and your takeaway from just watching the motion to dismiss, aside from the Turtleboy stuff that he kept bringing up, Mark Diller, but just your take on the attorneys. The first time you're hearing Karen Reed's civil attorney speak, did you have any feelings one way or the other? Did you think, oh, this guy's awesome, he's Alan Jackson in a civil litigator? I mean, like, what was your feeling about?
I mean, I've met Damon Seligson before. Funny story. He sued me in 2018, or he represented a client who sued me for this guy who found missing dogs or something, and it was a long story. But he bowed out of that after like a couple months, because the guy has gone through a couple more lawyers since then. But I've talked to him several times throughout the trial.
Just a moment, Solomon. Aiden's talking right now about being sued by Karen Reed's civil attorney right now.
Who you are?
I was sued. Well, he wasn't the plaintiff. He represented the plaintiff in a lawsuit filed in 2018. And he ended up getting, I think, fired by that because he wasn't aggressive enough or something. It was the most absurd lawsuit you've ever seen. I get sued a lot for ridiculous things. But he ended up, we've had discussions about it and had a good laugh about it. Like he's lawyers just doing their job. You get hired by somebody to sue someone, you sue them, right? So it's nothing like personal or anything like that, but it's just a small world. But I know he's friends with David Yannetti. And so that's kind of how he was brought into this. And, he's a really well-respected guy, very capable. As you can hear from his accent, he's from South Africa.
I like the accent.
Yeah. But some people were wondering what kind of accent that was. It's the South African accent. I guess they have their own distinct accent. But I think seems fine. She's got like 7 lawyers.
Yeah, I know. If she would ask me to join the team, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't want to be number 8. Martin Rander on behalf of Karen.
I do wonder who. Like, I've never had discussions with her about payment, if she's paying them or if they're all on a contingency. Because if you're doing this lawsuit, I'm like, what are you gonna get out of Brian Higgins? Like, as far as like a settlement. Like, usually when you sue somebody, these lawyers that take on a contingency case, there's an insurance company at the end of it that's just gonna write you a check, right? Like, what are they gonna get from Nicole Albert? Like, who's going to write the check? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that, in this particular prosecution with you, and I know it's a little bit not quite what you're talking about, but it's sometimes why people file these kinds of cases. It's to save face. Right now, you are the only thing that the prosecutor can save their face on after this Karen Reed disaster for them.
Well, okay. So Solomon, let's jump into the motion, because, we're running out of time, and
I may have to jump off again, by the way. So just.
Okay, well, then before you leave,
I didn't anticipate this.
Before you leave, then let's hear about your takeaway from the motion to dismiss that you was filed by Mark Bedro with 14 point as the font. And I know that I sent you them. I was hoping you were able to read through some of them. We spoke high level about them. What's some of your kind of high level takeaways from that motion to dismiss?
It's a very, very strong motion, and I got to tell you, I love the way this guy writes. He is an absolute powerhouse of a lawyer. Especially nowadays with AI, you never know if somebody's actually writing it or if AI is writing it. 100% he's writing it. There's just no question about it. Just enough snark. I love the way he writes. Really, really very strong writer. But as far as the substance of it goes, it's really kind of amazing how much, again, based on this motion, the only conclusion I can make is that they were willing to do all kinds of shady and questionable things to secure this indictment. And that's it. I don't know if they were trying to shut you up, Aiden. I don't know if there was something else going on, if they were trying to,
ding.
Backup for Karen to bring Karen into this case and prosecute her again, in case they get a conviction, just kind of, kick her while she's down. I'm not sure what the actual thought process was here. What I can tell you is that generally speaking, when I see indictments and I see criminal charges, it's not so personally motivated where they need this indictment. Sadly, we see it now more than we used to, particularly in the political world. But what we see in this one, just from reading the motion and from reading the indictment, is they were after you. They really, really wanted.
I think, there's a lot of reasons they wanted to do this. And I think you hit on some of them there, right? Shutting me up, tying me to Karen Reed. But I think the primary reason that we've seen from all these grand jury stuff is that Jennifer McCabe wouldn't get off their ass, like wouldn't stop writing them emails saying, what are we going to do? Are you going to do something? You going to do something? I just think they wanted to shut her up. Like, I really think that's what it was. She was the annoying woman asking to speak with the manager a million times. And as you saw on September 3rd, Michael Proctor sends out a text message to this fellow cop.
Careful what you say.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it's in the pleadings. And it's been stated in court. And so we've seen what Proctor said in that message. And, prior to that, it's just interesting what I loved about Bedero's mega motion is how he lays out this timeline. And even when I read it, I'm like, oh, I get it even better now. I get it now. Like, I see what happened here. Like, they try, do something is the theme. Jennifer McCabe from the beginning was saying, do something. This guy is inconveniencing us. He's making us look bad, right? You guys have all the power. You got to do something. You got to arrest him. Do something, And so he's like, okay, we'll try to get a restraining order on him. That fails. Maybe go out there and get the attorney generals to do something about it. That fails. Okay, let's have a meeting. And then the DA will issue this response in a hostage video format telling everybody to stop, and maybe that'll work. And it doesn't work. And so finally they're just like, well, we got to do something, right? We got to do something. And they're like, well, let's just find this witness intimidation statute and interpret it in its bizarre way it's never been interpreted before, and just arrest this guy, and maybe that'll shut him up.
Yeah. So here's the question, Solomon, because I've heard Mark say this.
Once we made the case a national spectacle, it really embarrassed them.
Right.
And I think we probably could have either gotten a plea or a conviction, if not for the fact that you blew it open the way that you did.
You mean from Karen?
That pissed them off. Yeah.
Yeah. You mean from Karen? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we do know is that there wouldn't be $1.1 million in a legal defense fund, and that is ultimately what put her over the top, because all of these experts, they don't work for free. Dr. Wolf, he's handsome and all, but he's expensive, and like they sit while they're sitting downstairs, like twiddling their thumbs, waiting to get called. They're making $500 an hour. And that's Karen Reed's paying for that. And where do you think that's coming from? The legal defense fund. Like Karen Reed would have lost her house long before she actually had to sell it, had it not been for the generosity of so many people out there.
Yeah. And the problem is that Kelsey Fitz Simmons seems like she wanted to sell her house. And now there's a motion by her, whatever his fiance, to attach the child support payments, whatever, to the house so that she cannot sell it. So, I mean, people need good lawyers like Mark Betterow. And by the way, in case you haven't donated yet to Turtleboy's defense, he also needs the defense funds, because to have motions like this written by powerhouse attorneys like Mark Betterow, I mean, it takes money. These people don't work for free. I wouldn't work for free, as much as I love you, Aiden. But, I wouldn't work for free as much as I believe in the First Amendment. This is taking a lot of time away from our practice, and, you need to get compensated. So, definitely, these defense funds are important for Karen. They're important for Turtleboy. Definitely, you should donate to them. But here's the question, Solomon. I think what you're seeing from the first part of the motion, I would say, I broke the motion into two different parts. The first part is just like this timeline, like Turtleboy, like Aiden set out. Sorry, doctor, but the way that he has laid it out, showing Jennifer McCabe pestering, and then finally they come down. Here's the question. Targeted, selective prosecution. Is that what this is?
Sure seems like it. There's okay. I mean, everybody's always heard that you can indict a ham sandwich, right? So prosecutors and law enforcement are given an incredible amount of strength and power over us, the regular people, and they need to wield that very carefully and very intelligently and very fairly. And if they want to indict somebody, they can. That's all there is to it. I tell people all the time, every single day you do enough stuff to be thrown in prison for decades, whether you know it or not. Every single day, that's just all there is to it. You ever visit a national park and bring some twigs home with you? Or there's all kinds of felonies they don't even know you're committing. And it's shocking sometimes. So you get a case like this, especially something which is vague, where you've got a journalist and you're going to say, well, this was intimidating. Right? If we just kind of look at the actual facts of the case, right? Let's just kind of take a step back and look from 30,000 feet. What's not intimidating? When the chief of police calls an officer in and says, do the right thing, you do the right thing when you testify.
By the way, Solomon, do you know that she, did she retire, or was she, what happened with her? Kelly Deaver.
She retired.
Kelly Deaver was retired.
Resigned, whatever.
Resigned.
Yeah.
Was she encouraged to resign?
No, so I reported this a little over a month ago, before the media actually caught on to it, is that she walked into her local police precinct, just gave her gun and her badge to the lieutenant there, and said, I'm out. And just it came out of nowhere. No one knew it was coming. She just is like, I'm never coming back. I think it was the Michael Cox saying that he'd never heard of her before, basically. I don't know who, like, I don't. And she's like, I humiliated myself on national television to cover for you. I thought that's what you wanted me to do. And she's probably just like, screw this job, but at the same time, she just could have been honest.
And also AJ's letter. Remember
AJ's letter. Right. Yeah. AJ didn't let up on that. He didn't forget. Right. And it should be. Yeah.
But my point on this is that, let's say somebody puts up a billboard, or somebody does a hit piece in the news, or a journalist exposes somebody for what they're doing or saying that it's a lie. And how dare they say this? Right? Is that witness intimidation? Once you go down this rabbit hole going after journalists,
it is, because I got indicted for a billboard.
On the First Amendment. It's a real problem, and that's why, again, prosecutors really should be much more careful when they indict a journalist for exposing something.
Mm-hmm. And
you're straddling the line on the First Amendment that a lot of people and certainly a lot of law enforcement people are not going to want to see you straddle.
Well, in the charging documents, it says that, my intent comes from this billboard that we put up, that I didn't even put it up. We raised money and $5,000 was used to pay for this billboard outside of Gillette Stadium that said free Karen Read on it with the QR code to my video framed that explained the whole thing. And I wrote an article and I said that I love this billboard. It's great. It's going to spread awareness. And, thousands of potential jurors every day are going to drive by that and they're going to see it. And they said, so his intent is to interfere with justice by messing with the jury pool, by putting lies into the head of the jury, and he's messing with the case. So educating the populace, the Commonwealth is arguing, is actually interfering with an ongoing legal proceeding, because somehow education and facts and learning about a case is illegal in Massachusetts.
Apparently telling people to tell the truth is also illegal.
Yes, it is. Because as long as they testify that what they believe you're saying is it's actually coded language, because this is the argument that they're making, that was somehow coded language to change your testimony to say what I consider the truth.
Tell my version of the truth.
It's right. I didn't say that. That's not what I said. It's not what I meant. You guys just get to take my words and define my intent. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's why the judge denied in that first opinion that I read. That was his thinking. That first motion to dismiss, he said, because it could be that tell the truth means tell my version of the truth, and he cited some sort of case law which I looked up and I thought was very different than your case, because there's no case that I found, as you know, that is similar to your case. It's always like a guy in jail who was beat up his girlfriend and is telling his girlfriend not to testify against him because they've been through this 100 times,
Exactly. Or somebody close to the defendant, a family member who is like, you better not testify against them, or you better change your testimony to say, do what we tell you to do. But me, I'm not related to Karen Read. I'm just some guy, Right. And it's funny because in that same town in Dedham, right before in September of 2023, there was this story out of Dedham where a young African-American kid, 17-year-old, drowned at a graduation party. And it was the guy that held the party allowed underage drinking at his house, and he was a retired state police sergeant, I believe, Coughlin. And so he ended up getting charged along with his wife with allowing this party to happen where somebody died. And the brother of the victim, the kid that drowned, he's got a long criminal history, violence, whole bunch of charges. He ended up going to the homes of some of the witnesses, including one where he walked up to the door, rang the doorbell, the kid opened it, and he goes, you better change your testimony. You need to say that he was thrown into the pool. And he said, no, I'm not going to do that. And then they beat him up. They assaulted him. And they went to the cop's house at 4 a.m. and blasted violent rap music outside, literal witness intimidation. And his lawyers contacted the Norfolk DA's office and says, can you do something about this? My client is being intimidated, and so are the witnesses. And Michael Morrissey's office just said no. And that's actual, people were assaulted, right? Actually showing up at your homes at 4 a.m. and threatening violence. And he's like, no, that's not witness intimidation. What witness intimidation actually is when something called Turtleboy goes on a YouTube presentation and makes jokes and does an impression of Colin Albert, or makes a prank phone call to Jennifer McCabe, or goes up to you at a lacrosse game and asks you a couple questions. And that's what actual witness intimidation is.
No. I think that real actual witness intimidation is when you go in front of D&E's Pizza and on a video when they're not even there, and you act like whatever it is, and then they see this on their phone and they start getting intimidated. And also, you know what else is intimidation? Which is, I wanted to get Solomon's opinion about this. Buchanan, when you asked him some questions after a Karen Read hearing or whatever it is, and then he just got into his car and gave you the finger. I mean, that is the look of intimidation right there. I mean, that is right, Solomon. So
the fact that he tried to pass himself off as a victim.
And then he said that he testified that he was intimidated. So my question is, Solomon, Buchanan, he's involved in your investigation, right?
Yeah, he's both an investigator and a victim. Yeah, that's the other thing. None of these, they're all victims, but they're also investigating me.
So Solomon, you're going to be able to call Buchanan as a witness, right? And then even though that was dismissed, by the way,
that was dismissed. Yeah.
That part of it was dismissed, but still he testified that he was intimidated. And would you be able to explore that when he gets called up on the witness stand saying, hey, you're the one investigating, Turtleboy on this case, Dr. Turtleboy, of course. And now, you yourself felt like you're a victim. And this is what intimidation looks to you. And you're leading this investigation, are you able to explore that?
From a trial strategy standpoint, there are a number of ways to get something like that in through a number of different kinds of witnesses. Just in case the prosecutors are watching this case and just in case you end up in trial, I don't really want to get into it too much. Just because I'm sure your lawyer has a plan for all this kind of stuff, and I don't want to blow the lid on it just in case I would accidentally do that. But yeah, there are a number of ways that you can get this kind of thing in, and I'm assuming he probably will, because trying to call him a victim is laughable. Trying to actually get him charged with that guy being a victim is just pathetic.
All of that
really kind of ridiculous.
To say that Brian Albert, who is 250, 6'2", combat veteran, that he's scared of me. He owns a gun. Like, that's so embarrassing. Don't these men have any? Well, call me old school, but men used to have shame. They used to would be embarrassed to get up and testify that you're scared of something called Turtleboy.
Well, Aiden, you just underestimate yourself.
Apparently, I guess I'm scarier than I thought.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was so scary.
Well, you've been hitting the gym. You've been. Anyway, Solomon,
especially a career, decades decorated law enforcement officer like Buchanan, right?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
exactly. Albert, Buchanan. Buchanan. They're both Marines. It's like they've both done combat tours and all this, and Buchanan's been to Ukraine a couple of times. I think he volunteered to help in the war. It's like, and they're scared of me, but not Putin. Putin doesn't scare him, but I do.
After this nonsense is over and you sue these guys, it'll be a very fun deposition when you take Buchanan's deposition and ask him about how intimidated he felt by you.
Yeah. So what about me scared you exactly? So tell me all about it. Was it my?
I can actually envision that cross-examination and how much fun it must be.
Yeah.
Here's another thing, and I don't know if you know the answer to this. I'm not sure if you're allowed to say the answer. So, before you do, just be careful. I know that Mark mentioned in the motion about how much Mello was paid for October 2023 through December 2023, which was north of $70,000. Okay. That's in 2023. Now we're in 2025. Special prosecutors on this case, Mello and Cosgrove. I wonder if
which one just withdrew?
That was Novak. No, Cosgrove and Novak both.
But that's only on one of the indictments, right?
Yes,
only one of them. So they're still working on this case. Okay, so since 2023, we know it's $70,000 in 2023. Do you think the bill to the Massachusetts taxpayers is already more in your case than it is in Karen Reed's case?
No, we can't compare to the Karen Reed case. We don't have Aperture yet. So that and Aperture took up. They really benefited more than anyone from this. Maybe if we go to trial, it'll be different. But they were. We haven't seen what Cosgrove has gotten paid. He's worked a lot harder and put in more work than Mello did. Mello didn't do anything. He's got all these hours he claims he worked. I guarantee he didn't do anything.
He watches your show.
Yeah, I don't even know he doesn't. Kate Peter
watched for it.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that. They're like, wish I could get paid to do that. He didn't even do that. Kate Peter watched the shows for him and sent him in all the clips. We got him in all the emails. Like, that's what they testified to happening. Yeah. There's no way Ken Mello sat through. My shows are like 3 hours long. There's no way he's watching all of those.
Well, at $400 an hour,
and it's just like, it's so disingenuous and misrepresentative of who I am and what I'm about, to take a 40-second clip from a 3-hour show and just say, here it is. It's like, I would contest that you should show these grand jurors an entire episode, okay, and show the whole thing. And I bet you they like me. There's a reason I can sell out the Wilbur Theater, because I am somewhat charming and I can entertain people. And when you watch me, you're like, oh, this guy's just like, he's a comedian. He's an entertainer.
Well, when you're not intimidating, you're charming.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like you could take any 40-second clip from anyone and try to make it sound more nefarious than it actually is.
Nefarious.
Nefarious. I apologize. You say nefarious, I say nefarious. So,
well, I mean, I say it as like Jennifer McCabe says it. So,
oh, is that? Oh, is that the reference? I didn't get that. Okay, but yeah, I mean, I am just a normal dad. So, you know, like I used to be a normal dad until I got arrested at the bus stop. That wasn't very normal, but I guess I should have told him that I was my brother. Oh, actually, no, I'm not Aiden Carr. That's someone else you're looking for. I'm his brother.
Doctor, when you bring your show to Detroit, let me know because I want to be there.
Well, they were only state police. They weren't feds. I mean, if it was the feds, you would say it was your brother.
Yeah, right. Ice cream guys.
All right, Solomon, let me ask you another question. Because we're having too much fun. We have to get into the motion now. So the motion to dismiss. So the first part of the motion was really just to lay out the timeline and show that this is a targeted, selective prosecution. Very clearly, it's Jennifer McCabe begging for something to be done to shut up Turtleboy, and finally, AG is ignoring them because there's something called the First Amendment, but Massachusetts, they don't care, and therefore they prosecute Turtleboy. Now, we move on in the rest of the motion. We talk about the grand jury proceedings. And what happened at the grand jury, to me, was just mind-blowing. And so, Solomon, just so you to understand, one of the biggest parts of this motion was that, you know, on any YouTube show, you have to label your YouTube show. You have a title. I have a title. This is like Turtleboy, Brother Counsel, National Trial Lawyer discuss Turtleboy case, right? That's what the title of this show is. And Aiden also does the same thing. Now, what Tully did, again, Tully's saying that he did this, not Cage Peter, but whatever. So Tully's claiming that he actually renamed the shows. So when he's showing them to the grand jury, they look different. Let me show you what they look like. Yeah, I can pull it up right here. He changes them, and there's like a beautiful chart that
Olivia Lambo.
Oh yeah, okay. So this is Olivia Lambo's work. You see the idea here. This is what episode title testified by Tully, and you have what Dr. Kearney, by the way, tell Olivia to change that. But you got these things here, and let's take a look. Take a look at like episode number 10. Life as normal is over, and this is what Tully names it. But the real name is breaking. Karen Reed defense files motion to recuse Judge Cannoni and oppose gag order. So all of these, you see, this is not like one or two. This is, what is it? 20?
Yeah, the best is
motion that at least 28 times during the course of the proceedings, Mello allegedly elicited false testimony from Tully.
Yeah, it was constant.
On the motion, you know, that is just
look shocking. At this, 25 seconds out of 2 hours and 31 minutes. You know. It's just absurd. You know, I do not want this to go to trial. That was out of the, notice how it says yes there. They had an entire folder called intent, and they kept saying to the grand jury, okay, so this video is episode number 604. It's from the intent folder. And so his intent is to prevent it from going to trial. What? I said nothing of the sort. And the actual name of the episode is like exposing corruption in Norfolk County or something like that. You know, it's just,
yeah, it's Colin Albert drops out of school.
Is Brian Higgins flipping? Like, okay.
That's really problematic. That's really problematic for multiple reasons. First and foremost, and this is, you know, kind of, this would certainly be an ironic twist if the Attorney General were to do this, but that seems to be like it could be the basis of a felony of a perjury prosecution. If you're asking questions that you know the answers are going to be fake or false, then that's eliciting perjury, and that's suborning perjury, and that's a felony. It's a felony to ask a question if you know the answer is going to be a lie, and that goes for the lawyer too, even though the lawyer's not doing the testimony. The lawyer is not allowed to ask a question of a witness if they know they're going to lie or if they plan for it to be a lie. And misrepresenting the evidence like this and then asking questions about it, assuming that's what happened, could certainly form the basis of a potential perjury prosecution.
Well, here's the thing, Solomon.
There's more problems here for them than just facing a potential dismissal for the good doctor's case. You know, they may have a world of pain coming their way. If the attorney,
I mean, obviously, in the grand jury, it's very problematic to rename the shows and present to the grand jury that they're named things like "I don't want this to go to trial" when it's really, I don't know, Karen Reed update number 25. But this is also, look at this part. This is a footnote in the motion where it's talking about how Mello, who was hired to be the special prosecutor and got paid already, who knows how much money, but just at least we saw 70 grand from October till December. This is Mark Beddoe laying out what his discipline history was. And he's been disciplined at least 3 other times.
In this case or in other cases?
Other cases. He's like the worst lawyer. Like he was like their 14th choice. No one wanted to take this case. He's got a long and documented history. Like that speaks to how bad their case is, that this is the best that they could come up with. He had to take his website down because it said the law office of Ken Mello spelt with 3 F's. He's got office misspelled on his own website. So we took it down after we pointed that out because he didn't know how to correct it. But he is a joke. He's not like a serious attorney. He's just a guy who needed 80 grand and, took this case on and then didn't do anything. I mean, nothing's happened since I've been arrested as far as like new evidence. At least with Karen Reed, they kept finding more taillight, right? Oh, we found more taillight. It's microscopic this time. It's in the clothing, or we have a new expert who's going to testify this. They haven't done anything in my case. They haven't even attempted to strengthen their case at all. Meanwhile, we've been on the offensive the entire time. We've been exposing things that we didn't even know about and never would have known about it had I not been arrested. And so this is completely backfiring them. It's not going well. And the only reason that it's even continuing is they have too much pride to just drop it. But luckily for them, what I think is a possibility here happening is what we call the towel bomb, right? So Grant Smith Ellis has gotten the woman he's in love with, let's face it, Lindsay Gattani, to file the most ill-advised, poorly thought out lawsuit ever, in which she is suing the prosecutor in her case, not realizing that this creates a conflict in which he now has to recuse himself from her indictments. But I would argue that she's also a witness in the McAlbert indictments, because when they gave her that grand jury summons on December 22nd, it says right on top of the grand jury summons for the Canton witness intimidation case with Aiden Carney. It's got the docket number. So like she's a witness in the McAlbert indictments. So now if she's a witness and Cosgrove's the prosecutor, it's the same dynamic, is it not?
Yeah, but he only moved to dismiss from the Gattani claim.
Yeah, well, he volunteered to do that. Now, if we file a motion that he should recuse himself from this, I mean, I think it's a pretty strong argument.
Yeah, I mean, part of this motion was also to disqualify Mello because
he's been disqualified. He's been disqualified from the Gattani motion, and we're
from the Gattani case, but not
still. Yes, it's still on the table. It has not been ruled on with the McAlbert indictments as well.
Right. So I mean, Cosgrove already moved to withdraw himself, and now this may be an easy way out for them. I mean, if Cosgrove
they can save face. They can just blame it all on Lindsay Gattani.
Right,
I mean, that's out.
That to me, that's probably the smartest thing if they had a PR guy to say, okay, this is an easy way out. Mello's
this also gives the judge an opportunity to do that now that this motion is pending.
Right, and everybody wins that way because they get to go on saying, "Well, Turtleboy's guilty, but he got away with it because Lindsay ruined it."
Brilliant,
exactly. Like Lindsay Gattani ruined it. She's an idiot. Oh man, but he's definitely guilty and he got away with it. And they'll be able to say that, so everybody wins if it happens this way.
Right, but what is it about Lindsay Gattani? It seems like she wants to be back to be a turtle rider.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I haven't seen what she's been doing today, but this is all part of her schemes. I've seen this one before. She's run out of friends on that side, so she wants to come back here and win over and act like
you mean the microscopic
yes, the microscopic people that still believe that Karen Reed killed John. Yeah, so it appears as if she is trying to impress or win over turtle riders because she is attacking all of what I consider to be my enemies, like Kate Peter and Julie Carpenter and stuff like that. And people appreciate that. People like that when you go at them. So it is smart. I'll give her that. But I don't know. It's not fooling me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, it could be that she's trying to elbow her way back into the turtle world.
That will not be happening. That will unfortunately not be happening.
Was this the lady who sent you those emails with fake text messages? Is that who that
was? No, that's Kate Peter. This is the woman who sent.
Right, you just said Peter.
No, she aligned with Peter to send me to jail. Oh. She's the woman who made up the lie about the assault and sent me to jail for 60 days. And so I'm never going to get over that ever. Oh, wow. And like her all fake. I mean, especially because if she's not going to admit that she lied about that, then we have nothing to talk about. Like, let's start with apologizing and admitting that this didn't happen. And then we can have a conversation.
Wait, are you talking about the email that she sent to pretend, about Chris and Colin Albert running drugs? Yeah,
that's Kate Peter.
That was Kate Peter, right?
She was Kate Peter. That's right. She fully admitted.
I thought I remember seeing or hearing.
Right, that was a prank. She thought it was funny, like that. She's like, haha, we'll get Turtleboy to say it. And all I did when I went on my show was say that, like, I got this email. I don't know if this is true or not. I'm just going to read it to you guys. And I read the whole thing about selling drugs out of D&E Pizza. I'm like, I have to look into this. It's just a tip, but it is a tip. And we'll see if anything comes from it. And she was like, haha, I got him to say it. And meanwhile, then that episode, like, other people pick it up, like Sean of the Gulf ran with it, and he's like, oh, it's bigger than it is, like Alex Jones stuff, you know, like crazy, like, oh, pizza, they're selling drugs out of there and human trafficking, and they just go off on this tangent. It all is from her intentional lie, which she framed as some sort of prank, and it caused actual emotional harm to Chris and Colin Albert. So why isn't she being charged with witness intimidation?
I said that's a real. I mean, that to me is very disturbing. If I was the Alberts, I would not be very happy. What do you think, Solomon?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed it up right there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, think
but
about
again, what is witness intimidation?
Yeah, I know
I can tell you things that I've had, cases that I've worked on that I've been very surprised witness intimidation was not charged. It's one of those charges that I think prosecutors don't like to charge because it's like a secondary offense. It's almost like a cop out. Real prosecutors view it as almost like a like a cop out, like a weak case.
It's supplemental. It's what you add, like, you know, you beat the shit out of someone, you attempted murder. It's like, we'll add in witness intimidation to that, right? Because the person you tried to murder is a witness.
Now, like, for example, like in the Melly case, I don't know if you're following that. Like, you have these people like Melly who's being charged with like triple homicide or something, or double homicide, and then, you know, he's trying to intimidate witnesses to get them to testify a certain way in his trial. That's where you find these type of things, not where, like, this is the only charge that we're charging a journalist.
The only charge, right?
You know, like, that's what's. And here's the other thing, Solomon. Kate, and by the way, Doc, if you have to go, let me know, because I know
I got about 5 more minutes or so. Okay. Yeah.
So Kate Peter also falsified this complaint from federal court. Okay?
Oh, I saw that. I saw that a few months ago. You told me that. That cracked me up.
Now, again, you've got this is the star witness against Turtleboy, right? And she's going to be on the witness stand. And can you imagine having that type of cross-examination, having a document that she falsified against Turtleboy and something else, and being able to just explore that and show how she's like in cahoots with all the calling Buchanan by his first name and
Yuri.
Yeah,
all of that stuff. I mean, when I told Bettero about the situation with the YouTube complaint 5 years ago, he's like, wait, rewind. What? Like, Bettero is so thorough. He's like, wait a minute, what? She admitted it. So she created a false federal complaint against you, and this is what she does. And she's the source of their information, and she admits that will just willingly lie and forge things just to hurt me. And now she's doing the exact same thing. And these idiot cops are just like, oh, yes, I'll use you as my only source of information. Yes, for all of these indictments. I mean, I knew she was involved, but until we got all the discovery and were able to read into it, we didn't realize the extent that she was the only source of information. Like, you've read, the pleadings. They were helpless until September. They didn't know what to do. They're like, do something. They couldn't do anything. And then Kate Peter shows up in the world in September of 2023. And the next thing you know, she's sending him videos, and boom, I'm in handcuffs. Like, she's the X factor. I mean, I hate even bringing her into this, but she's the X factor.
And when she is the star witness, they got all these other problems of making up doctoring documents against the doctor. That's when we have
big no.
I mean, this would be a great trial to watch. I would love to watch this. Not that I want you to go to trial. I think the charge would be dismissed, but for my own personal entertainment, I'd like to watch it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I wish that I could watch a trial and go through a trial without the anxiety of going through a trial and just watching it. But I even got anxiety watching it for Karen Reed, and I wasn't Karen Reed. But we all were like invested in Karen Reed. We're like, oh my God, if she gets convicted, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? Even though it's like, I'm not going to jail if she gets convicted. But like, oh my God, I would be personally devastated by this. But, like, actually being the one in the defendant's chair adds a lot to it for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know that. I know that. That's why I'm not wishing it upon you. But I mean, if this does go, it's going to be very entertaining. Let me ask you another question because I know someone's asking about this. What is the story with the discovery now? Did you get all the documents? You got all the 5,000 pages? They're not blank now? Like, were you able to see everything, or are they still holding back certain stuff? It looks
we're not even close to getting all the discovery. I mean, we got those Tully emails, but there's links in the Tully emails that have been deleted. All those video links that Kate Peter sends them, we haven't gotten any of those. We haven't gotten the grand jury transcripts from the window intimidation charges. Still waiting on those. So there's a variety of discovery that we've been asking for forever that we still haven't gotten. Like Tully's cell phone, he gave us printouts of his text messages. Now we want the Cellbrite report, like
the Cellbrite report, which is sometimes accurate.
Yeah, right. Sometimes we got
timestamps.
We got Lindsay Gattani's cell phone extraction, and then we had to give it back after seeing all the exculpatory information that was inside of it. And we were supposed to get a redacted version of the phone back, and then we never
got
did.
sued for that, right?
She is suing me for that. That's correct.
Solomon, listen to this.
I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but yeah, I mean, she's suing. That's what she sued Cosgrove for. She sued Cosgrove for giving me her phone extraction, which he is required to do by Rule 14. So she's suing him, and she's suing Brian Tully for giving it to him. And so I don't know.
You're also part of it, no? Because like she's making allegations that you publicized it, or no?
I don't even know what she's saying I did. I forget what, but she also, after I was indicted for everything, months later, she decided to accuse me of rape, because why not just add one more thing onto the list? And so she goes to the police department, and there's a video of it because we were into filming and, a little art project. And so she shows the video to the police, and it's in the police report. They documented, they do a play-by-play. It's really weird. There's a fridge involved, and that's why they call me the fridge daddy. And long story short, the police make it very clear in the report there's no rape whatsoever. So we are entitled to that report because we are entitled to all police reports that she filed, and we get it. And I'm like, I put the report out there because it shows that she's online saying he raped me, and then I show the report that says clearly he wasn't raped. There was a fridge. Everything was fine. And now she's suing me for publishing what she calls the confidential rape report, which isn't confidential at all or rape.
Oh, gosh.
Goodness gracious. Wow. Somebody's really got to do a movie about your life.
Oh, they're going to. It's going to be good.
It's not just going to be about you and the Karen Reed. It's going to be about all this other stuff also.
My childhood. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I have no idea what it'll be about, but I can't wait to see it when it comes out.
I'm curious about something. Do they have Brady Giglio lists in Massachusetts? They have to, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why Alan Jackson wrote that letter saying that Officer Deaver has to be on the Brady list.
What about all the other cops from the case?
What about him?
What about all the other cops from the case? Are they on the list yet?
I don't think any of them are.
Proctor?
Proctor's, I don't know if he's on, but I mean, you don't even have to put them on a Brady list. There's a thing called Google. They're unemployable if they ever leave the state police.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Okay. So one more thing is that the Turtleboy derangement syndrome. I mean, we're seeing that play out with Gattani. Salman, that was actually a direct quote from the motion.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
You got some people who love Turtleboy, and then they switch sides for whatever reason. Now, maybe because they think the grass is green on the other side, and then they go to the other side and they see that there's 3 people there. So they get tired of that, it seems like, from Gattani, and then she wants to come back. Mm-hmm. And the question is whether they're going to accept them or not. But, I think Mark only has a term for these people that just flip one way. But we need a term for when they flip from being a Karen Reed supporter to anti-Turtleboy and then back again. So we need a syndrome for that also. But that's part of the snark.
That is one of the funniest exhibits ever put into motion, is that Turtleboy derangement visual of Lindsay Gattani wearing a Free Karen Reed shirt on September 4th and then holding a sign that says "Go to jail, bitch!" 6 months later.
And then she was on. Yeah, go ahead.
And there's a fault in every one of these people. There's a similar story. They had a falling out with me. The second that you don't like me, you get mad at me, Karen Reed magically becomes, the light bulb goes off in your head and you're like, wait a minute, Karen Reed's guilty. And then it's funny how that works. And even Lindsay is now making comments. People are asking her, but do you think John O'Keefe got hit by a car? She's like, I have no comment. Mark my words. Within a week, she'll be saying Karen Reed's innocent, because that's how she really thinks she'll win me back. Is that?
Okay. Well, you already made your position clear, but could be some of the other riders will take her back. I don't know. But I thought it was funny.
When there's going to be an order on this pending motion to dismiss.
Well, they haven't filed an answer yet. Even.
Yeah, so we're going to have oral arguments December 5th. So we got a bit to go. So
you have a trial date yet?
Oh, no, nothing even remotely close to a trial. Like the district attorney elections next year will be before any potential trial for sure.
Wow, that would certainly be interesting.
Yeah, that would make a lot of problems. That's another way these problems could go away is Michael Morrissey. It doesn't appear as if he's going to run again. He has not raised any money. He didn't have his annual fundraiser this year. If he loses, new DA comes in, they're not going to continue this sham. That's the old regime.
Yeah, that's what you would think. You would think. They should just be done with this already and put it to bed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're coming up in the hour and a half, and I know that you've got to go. So
I want to get going.
Yeah. So again, thank you very much for joining us right here in Brother Counsel Studios. Appreciate it, and wish you all the best with the case. Obviously, we're going to be following it, and the only thing that we really need to happen on this case is that some of the bigger streamers pick them up so that we can, piggyback off of the streams that are going on and see what's actually happening in court, and not just these Zooms, which are, horrific.
Yeah, so we got to get lawyer, we got to get Emily D. Baker and all of them, because the Zoom sucks, there is a pool camera in there, but they don't stream it. So like NBC 10 and Court TV, they're not streaming it live as they should.
Yeah, so you got to get Sue, what's her name? Was it
Sue O'Connell?
Yeah, you got to get Sue O'Connell on this. I know that you're like kind of back and forth with her, but we got to get NBC 10 Boston on it. We got to get Ted Daniels on there.
To move there.
Yeah.
We got to get, we got to get Court TV, but that's going to be the next thing. Okay. So thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to pop you off so I can take some super chats. I don't want to disrespect you by doing it while you're here.
I appreciate that. I'll talk to you guys. Wonderful meeting both you gentlemen. Not Martin, but Solomon, first time, but big fan. So thank you very much.
Good luck with your case. Look forward to seeing what happens.
Thanks, right.
Guys. Talk to you later.
Thank you. All right, Solomon, again, thank you very much for your time. It was good that you're back. I know a lot of people like to hear your takes, and I know that you've been pretty busy past couple of weeks traveling the world and such. But any time that you can give Brother Counsel and our fans here, we appreciate.
Yeah, it's always nice to be here. Always like talking to you. Goodness, this doctor is a really, really interesting fellow. Very entertaining. And what's happening to him really should not be happening. That's just unfortunate that something like this is happening.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm going to just take some chats now, Simon. I'll let you go, and we'll see you next time. Okay. All right, everybody. Well, I did not want to be rude to our guests, and that's why I didn't want to take the super chats then, so I'll take them now. Appreciate everybody again, of course, joining us. If you're going to just sign off now, that's fine. But I'm going to be going through some of the chats now or questions that we have, and I'll do my best answering them. But in case you're going to jump off now, do appreciate everybody joining us today for the show. That was our first time having Turtleboy on the show. He obviously invited me on his show. And, when you actually, we're very different, obviously, in our approach. I'm a lawyer. He's a journalist. He's an activist. He's a satirist. But, we can still discuss some of the legal issues in an intelligent way. So, all right. First of all, thank you, Alan, for becoming a new member. Joy Kane, I'm going to try to get these names right. Gifted one Brother Counsel membership. Appreciate that. Let me see what we have here. And again, if some of the questions were for Turtleboy, I apologize, but I'll do my best answering them. Equanimity. Aiden, will Ford Edge be discussed on, there we go, on documentary? Okay, so that was a question for Aiden. I apologize that we didn't get to that. We'll see. I imagine that he's not going to give any real details away about the documentary because you don't want to spoilers. But, so I imagine we're not going to get too many details about it. From Kristen from Manhattan. Hey, Brother Counsel, get to 50K subscribers. Hit the subscribe button to receive top-notch legal analysis. All right, appreciate that, Kristen from Manhattan, who has been with us for a long time. And yeah, you should hit the subscribe button on your way out. No reason why not. It's free. It just helps the channel out and get the message out to more people. Sam Puckett, explain to Turtle that Colin wasn't involved, and by not suing Colin, it shows he wasn't involved. Legal malpractice to not claim Colin if he was involved. Well, that's a question that I have to explain to Turtle that Colin wasn't involved in the murder. Okay. Joey Kane, gifted 5 Brother Counsel memberships. Appreciate that. Stuttering John, Colin not sued means we were so wrong about him. I'm not sure who you're talking about suing who. Not sure who you want to be sued or who is being sued. Are you talking about if you're talking about Karen Reed suing them and Colin was not named, so Colin wasn't involved. Okay, that's possible. Possible Colin was involved, and that's why she's not naming him. If that's what you mean. Elf, have been waiting for this. Free Turtleboy. All right. Thanks for being a member for 4 months. John from Cape Coral. How did AJ miss Higgy Bear threat on video in trial? Well, on the you're talking about the first trial, the second trial. Because the second trial, I mean, they on that video you're talking about at the waterfall, they did get that, and they showed it and they played it. So unless you're talking about the first trial. Kelly, Chloe Bitt, so we acquit, one of the greatest names out there. She was pregnant when she was shot. We're talking about Kelsey Fitz Simmons, I'm assuming, and lost the baby, in my opinion, protecting the officer who shot her from charges. Well, that would be really altruistic of her. Not sure. We're going to find out more about Kelsey's case as it goes on, but right now, all we have to talk about, all what we've seen so much is the past few hearings, which are just sickening. Sickening what happened to her. Really terrible. Dave Reese, damn you, Turtleboy, and your YouTube presentations. Exactly. You can't present on YouTube in Massachusetts without getting prosecuted, apparently. Sal, supporting BC. Thanks for your hard work and content. Thank you very much for that. Megan Easton, new member. Appreciate that, Megan. Nina Stanek, would it be better for Karen to move out of state to avoid further charges? She may be eyeing moving out of state, Can't say that she would be wrong for looking to move somewhere else after what she went through. So that may be, but at this point, it's not going to help her at this point. She has to, could be part of the conditions of probation that she has to be in Massachusetts. But she's got a full year of that. And then after that, maybe she'll move. If Karen Reed, and this is from Nina again, if Karen Reed found not liable, but the McAlberts do they have to pay the O'Keefes, or what's the outcome in this scenario? So you're talking about the civil case. So if, let's say, Karen is found not guilty in the civil case, this is the question. And so not guilty, meaning there's a no cause, that she doesn't have to pay them anything. But the McAlberts do they have to pay the O'Keefes? So this would be no, because the O'Keefe family has not sued the Albert family or McCabe family. If the O'Keefe family wants, they could sue them also. They could sue them, and maybe a very aggressive attorney would. Why not throw everybody into the same lawsuit? But there may be some statute of limitations issues, and they're still, again, all sold on the fact that they believe that Karen Reed hit him, and the Alberts had nothing to do with it. If they wanted to, if they believe the other theory, again, it'll be, there's some hurdles there, but if they believe that the Alberts and McCabe's had something to do with John O'Keefe's death, they could sue the Alberts and McCabe's, but they don't believe that. But if Karen Reed is successful in her lawsuit against the Alberts and Higgins and all that, then no, they would just be paying Karen Reed, and that would be it. There would be no money for the O'Keefes. Ex-cop would like to say, plus the ham sandwich is not cheap. We're talking about the ARC experts. They weren't cheap. Or the other experts, Aperture experts. Kim Hastings became a new member. Thank you for that. Under your scars, greatest live ever, Free Turtleboy, hashtag Free Turtleboy, your rights are being stolen. Marianne Jonally. Thank you very much for that. Poetic Justice says, BC, can you get an interview with Donna Adelson? Not sure if I can get an interview with her. That'll be tough. Pro Gamer's a member for 6 months. Thank you very much, Shanatova. The Hebrew means, that's backwards, Shanatova. But and it means a good year because we just celebrated the new year in the Jewish calendar. Mason, great job today. So fun. Thank you. Pro Gamer, gifted 10 Brother Council memberships. Appreciate that. Ex-cop would like to say, suit is not about killing JJ, just framing Karen Reed. Right, that would be the suit that Karen Reed is filing. And finally, Dave Reese, can Karen buy a one-way ticket to Vietnam? Asking for a friend. So if you guys know, this is a reference to what happened in the Adelson case. Donna Adelson bought a one-way ticket to Vietnam, but I don't think Karen has to. She was acquitted, so there's no reason why she has to go anywhere. But it may not be such a bad idea to move out of Massachusetts. But again, maybe she has roots there and she wants to stay there, and it's it's hard to leave your hometown, so maybe she doesn't want to leave. But either way, she should be fine. All right, everybody. Well, that is going to be it looks like, for the live today. And appreciate everybody coming and joining us today. Glad that we got Turtleboy on and spread the message and talk more about Kelsey Fitz Simmons. Here's a question from, despite the look on my face, you're still talking. When are we going to hear your massive announcement? I'm not sure if I could have announced that. All I said that it was a massive week, but I'm not sure if I can discuss what actually happened during that week. So if we are able to talk about it at some point, maybe we will, but I'm not sure if you're going to be interested, because it's not associated with the cases that you probably all know about. So I'm not sure if you're even interested, but it was a massive week for me personally. Okay, so we're talking about Colin being named in the suit, obviously, that Karen Reed's filing. Is it possible that Colin wasn't named in the suit because he denied being in the house and others admitted being there? No, the reason why, they don't really need to name Colin so much. That's not where the money is. Like suing an 18-year-old, how old is he? 20 now? He doesn't have any money, doesn't have any assets. Why would you sue him? The money really is more from suing the officers involved and perhaps the state police, even though it's very difficult to sue the Massachusetts State Police, but that's not where the money is. The money is not with Colin. You sue Brian or Nicole and the McCabe's. You'll get more money that way. But even them, the money is really more from suing the individual officers who the state will then come and defend, because they have a duty to defend them. Okay. All right. Well, it looks like that's going to be it. So thank you all again for joining. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.